Nostril piercings. You want to do a second one, or you want to do two, but you can't decide on whether or not you want to do two on one side, or you want to do both nostrils. We're going to help you with that coming up next on Pros and Cons by a Piercer, episode number 53. So stick around. For those who are new to the channel, my name is DaVo. I'm a professional body piercer and have been since 1994. I own and operate the Axiom Body Piercing Studio located here in Des Moines inside the Skin Kitchen. So when I talk to you about these things, I'm talking to you at a level of expertise as someone who has done thousands upon thousands of nostril piercings and quite a few either two on one side or matching sets over the years. I'm an expert. This particular topic comes from a comment made by one of our viewers. They're probably thinking about this particular question and would like some insight. If you have something you would like to see me do a pros and cons on, please leave a comment. I'm happy to answer or look into possibly doing one if I think it will work and I think it will be beneficial. The other thing is, I have been doing these for over a year now. I'd like to thank everybody who's been watching, helping this series grow, and also the channel along with it. So thank you, everybody, and keep helping me with the content, topics, and etc., and we'll keep this going. I'm going to break this up into 5 separate kind of topics to hit on to kind of give you an overview. And those are healing, anatomy, placement, jewelry type, and living with the piercing after it heals. So let's start off with anatomy. Anatomy is a very important part of any piercing, regardless of what it is. When we do a nostril piercing, we generally are looking at how thick the tissue is, and we're looking at having enough clearance for the jewelry, depending on the type of jewelry that you want to eventually wear in it, whether it's a ring or a stud. Also, we generally try to get it so it fits into that natural curvature of the nose and fits into that crease, which looks most natural. When we're doing two, it comes down to having enough space to do both and to make it look natural. Usually it'll end up being at a kind of slanted downward. If you have that curvature on the outside of your nose, the first one will be a little higher, the back one anyway, and then the one that's forward will be a little bit lower. So if you have a longer nose that comes outward more, you're better off, or it's easier to do double nostril piercings because it's not going to look as kind of strange because they're both going to kind of be at that same depth into the tissue. If we're doing both sides, it really doesn't matter as much. However, the only problem we have is that both sides of your nose are slightly different. They're shaped differently. They might curve a little bit. This nostril might be higher than this one. This one might be more rounded. This might be more flat. So sometimes it's very difficult to get them to line up for that reason, and have that straight across may work, but it may not fit your anatomy and may look out of place because it doesn't fit your anatomy. So that brings us on to piercing placement. When you're doing two of them, it's best if you can, when you're initially doing that first one, to at least mention to your piercer that you want the possibility of doing two on that side. This can affect where they place it. If they might place it a little further back, basically to give you maybe that extra 1/16 of an inch or so, or millimeter, that may make a difference when you go to get the second one done further forward. Also, when you're doing both sides, you do want to kind of mention that so they can kind of get a game plan going of which is going to work not only symmetrically, but works into your anatomy and looks like it's a part of it. When you are placing a piercing, we always take into account what type of jewelry your eventual goal is as far as what you're going to wear in that particular piercing. You may be healing out with a stud because it's a better option, but you may also want to have that option to wear rings. And that's another thing you want to mention during placement. And this is especially true when you're doing multiple piercings. With rings and studs, they both look a little different in the nose, and they kind of can make it look a little bit this way or a little bit that way. And if the angle isn't right on, it can make them look kind of goofy or crooked or out of placement, especially when you're doing both sides. So when we do both sides, we're more looking at two factors. We want it to look like it's straight, but we want to look like it matches at arm's length, not at this distance. The reality is no one, unless they have some type of mental disorder, is going to be talking or looking at you that closely unless you're very intimate with that person. However, you want it to look at a distance like they match because people are going to notice that more often. So when you do get the placement or marking, whether it's both on one side or both on different sides, I really suggest looking at it up close, looking at arm's length, even if there's a full length there, maybe 1 step backwards, 2 steps backwards, 3 steps backwards, especially with the two sides, because you really want to make sure that they appear to look like they're matching before it's too late. So now let's get on to the healing process, which is going to be more difficult, which is going to be less difficult. With doing 2 on one side, it is going to increase the possibility of contact with the piercing, just basically because you're going to have more jewelry on that side. It's probably going to heal out the same way as any other nostril piercing would. You're not really going to have any added precautions. However, if you're doing both sides, it's going to limit sleeping. If you're doing one at a time, it probably won't bother you as much, but if you're doing both of them at the same time, it's going to create this area that is a lot more prone to impact and trauma, meaning you're going to pretty much have to sleep like this until it's healed, until both of them are healed. Also, one will probably usually heal out a little faster than the other one, so you're going to have a little bit of prolonged healing on one side or the other, and you need to kind of plan or expect that in advance. As far as additional strain on your body, anytime you have multiple piercings, it's going to take a little bit longer for them to heal. Is it going to be an overly noticeable amount of time? Probably not. Usually between 2 or 3 piercings healing at a time is kind of a safe level to be. The biggest thing is with healing anything is eat right, get plenty of sleep, reduce the amount of stress to your life, and take care of the piercing. Do what needs to be done to help it heal. Please. Number 4. Oh, the 4th one anyway. Jewelry choices. Now, with rings, you kind of have 2 choices. Rings, circular jewelry, or stud. With both sides, sometimes, even if it's a little bit off here or there, doing a mixed version of it with like a ring on one side and a stud on another side will completely negate any weirdness where, oh, that one doesn't look like it matches the other one. It kind of breaks the visual of it and changes the perception. If it's done with studs on both sides, you have 2 dots that need to line up. It's a little bit more difficult to look right. Rings are a little bit more forgiving as far as that visual look to it. When you're doing 2 at the same time or on one side, rings, they pretty much, that angle, everything needs to be in exact alignment. Even if you're going to put, let's say, a 3/8 in the back and a smaller 5/16 in the front, it still needs to make sure that it matches in parallel, that one isn't like this and one's like this or like this or like that. You want it to match so that it has that clarity or looks like it's part of a group. You can also eliminate if one of them turns out a little bit this way or a little bit that way. Mixing with the ring and the stud will cause kind of the same effect. Usually most people, they'll do the ring in the back and the stud in the front. I think that looks really great, to be honest with you. And lastly, living with the piercings. If you have both sides done, you are creating a situation where this part of your body is prone to getting caught on things, bumped, having trauma, and all that fun stuff, and causing issues, even a healed piercing. It's going to affect sleeping. It's going to affect, you're going to have to be cautious when you're changing clothing. You're going to have to be cautious all around. It's going to have more of an impact because it can come in contact with more things. If you're doing one side, they're kind of close together. They don't really impact things as much. It's not going to be as much of a bothersome situation as having both sides done. Well, that's all I have to say on that subject today about doing nostril piercings, either two on one side or both sides. I hope you found this informative. I hope you learned something. I hope maybe it helped you to make a decision. If not, or I didn't explain something, or if you feel like I missed something, please leave a comment. I answer them when I have time, and I enjoy interacting with people. So do that. If you liked the video and found it, especially if you found it informative, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell so you're notified every single time we post something. We post between 4 and 5 videos a week with a focus on education about body piercing, tattooing, and body art in general. If you'd like to show your appreciation and love for the channel, check out our merch store. There is all kinds of different designs there and a lot of different types of swag to make yourself feel stylish and cool and support the channel and show your love of body art. Till next time, here's hoping all your piercings heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, I hope to see you for your body piercing needs in the future. Thanks for watching, everybody. Once again, thank you for letting me do this for a year. And to everybody that supported us and supported me through the whole time, thank you very much. And look forward to more. Do something special for yourself. Get a cupcake, to celebrate.